Hi everyone. Yes, today we're going to be talking about project quality planning. Okay, so after cost management, we are basically into quality management, and the idea of quality management is a very big part of project management. But especially for civil engineering, let's focus on project quality management. Okay, so what do we mean by project quality management? First of all, before we go into that, I think you all need to know the definition of quality lah, in that sense lah, huh? Before we can manage quality, we need to know what quality is all about lah, huh? In the older days, quality has always been a concept that is very much revolving around manufacturing. Okay, the manufacturing industries, because in the manufacturing industries, in a very close environment, after industrial revolution, where human beings are actually producing items and necessities, like items or necessities in a factory kind of environment. So with industrialization and the use of machinery, so we are trying, the human being will try to expedite everything in the mass production kind of format. So in the old days, maybe when you want to, in 18, maybe 80 or in 1870, before industrialization, what you do is, you want to build a table, you go and see a craftsman, you will go and chop wood, and then the craftsman will work on the table or the chair, for like 3 months before they give it to you, you see. If you want to make leather good, luggages bag, tables, chairs, even plates, ceramics and all that, it's all very craftsman based, you see. So when we have craftsman based, they don't produce everything in a mass kind of manner. So with industrialization, the use of machinery and steam machine, steam engines and all that, this is a time where we start to realize that, we can do a lot of things in a very short time. And then we get a lot of people going to the factory to work instead of doing agriculture. So when you start to produce things in a very mass kind of manner, we will tend to have a tendency of having defects, defects in the production lines, So when there is defects, we suddenly realize that, people suddenly realize that, hey, it's not as, the item that we produce are not so high in terms of quality anymore. And then, of course, as the world came short of resources, and then the introduction of polymers into the world, so a lot of things are not so big, just purely using wood or using leather, the natural resources are reducing as well. So then we have other replacement materials like polymer, which is basically like things like plastic, polyesters and all that. So these are the kind of things that makes the quality of the item a bit lower in that sense. So yeah, it's not as long lasting, it's not as durable anymore as compared to the old days, you see. So then, in the factory environment, that is the beginning of the concept of looking into quality, into like, items are not so durable anymore, or items are not so high performance, and it's not really according to the dimensions and specifications and all that. So that is the concept of quality in the very, very beginning. So then after World War II, after World War One, in fact, and then followed by World War II, in 1940s, 30s, 40s, we get a lot more, like after the war, there's a lot of rebuilding going on. So you need a lot of necessities, a lot of items, a lot of replacements, and then that is whereby there's even more production going on. And then that is where the concept of quality management completely just blossomed after World War II, with many countries like Japan doing rebuilding, especially Japanese, because they were involved in the war, Germans, and then they, many countries are needing a lot of resources, a lot of items to actually rebuild. And of course, the Japanese themselves, they want to regain their reputation around the world. So a lot of people don't like Japanese materials. They don't like Japanese cars. They don't like Japanese TV. They don't want these sort of things, you see, because they feel like, these are like, the war criminal sort of things. They are the losers. So they want to make sure that they can regain back themselves in the global market, you see. So then they started to focus a lot on quality of their products. And we will explain later why quality can be successful and why sometimes quality management fail with certain people. So I think the Japanese did really well. So a lot of the concept of quality from the Americans to the Japanese, it all came from during that era. You have a lot of gurus, a lot of these very famous people coming into the picture, like talking about quality management, right? So, and when it comes to construction, we also adopt a lot from manufacturing. So I would very humbly say that construction is following behind manufacturing, whereby there's a lot of automation in the processes. But whereas for us, our our QM are actually not so easy as compared to manufacturing, is because our work are not automated. Our work are still based on human beings, our work is still based on machineries, it's a combination of all these resources to make this particular product. So, and then we are also being affected by a lot of natural environments, such as soil, such as weather, such as rainfall, such as river conditions, a lot of these items are actually going through, a lot of our products are actually going through a very, very large space of areas, and also maybe a very long distance, especially for civil engineering work and infrastructure work. And a lot of our items are dependent on, like I said, natural constraints, like weather, like environment, like the, the actual soil condition, the mountains, the rivers, and all these are actually constraining our management of quality, because it's not in an enclosed environment, so it's not as easy to deal with in that sense. So we are actually behind them. So manufacturing moves very fast, so especially because they can move faster also, because they can change their concept, they can change their ideas very fast. For us, we are following time. And I think for construction, many of our quality concept is actually based on inspections. In the earlier stage, we think of quality exactly like manufacturing. We think of the output. Whatever there is output, we check. We go and check on the manhole. We check on the sizes, the measurement, the materials, the machineries. The workmanship. We check on devices. So if items are not fulfilling the requirement, we will do rejection or repair or rework, or make it upgrade it and make it better, for example. So that is our concept of quality, and it is still remaining up to today that we're still having that kind of concept, especially when it comes to quality. So it is reminded that the world has already moved on with that inspection era, and think of quality now as a process. It's a process. It's a system. It's actually a step by step of coming out with the final product that is good. So quality is not a product, but quality is a process, and that is something that we have to recognize. It is an input, QM, quality management, is like an input into the process. So whether it's work processes or whether it's processes of selecting material, whether it's processes of control, whether it's a processes of checking whether the machinery can be used, all these things are actually an work effort. It's an effort. It's actually a procedure. It's actually a method, that you have to apply onto that particular part of the work, or part of the requirement. And they are not attribute, meaning that we're not looking at, or we're just looking at the resources, the concrete, we're looking at the sizes of the beam or the measurement of the column. It's not that anymore. We can't call that, the column meet this requirement, then therefore it is quality, So we cannot think like that anymore. Because that will actually lead us to a lot of control and checking, and that is not healthy at all. So today's emphasis is on practices, is on processes, is on coming together, people coming together and work to that processes, and practice and do the procedures, so that the output can be good, not the other way around. Quality is not that. Look at the output and say this is quality or not quality.